What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of El Jardín Perdido. Today, we're doing a spring garden update. Alright, so I don't know if you guys had seen some of the previous videos, but I did have a really rough winter. We got hit really hard with a freeze for some consecutive days and some consecutive freezes, but I also had to get rid of the majority of my animals, mainly the goats. So yeah, I was kind of down and out, and I kind of just like let everything go. Things got pretty wild. I just recently kind of manicured a little bit, but I think it kind of made me take a more laid back approach. So I've been recognizing more like beneficial weeds and stuff like that, and kind of letting things thrive a little more. And rather than mulching vigorously, you know, maybe I'll let some ground cover show up and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of being a little more loosey-goosey and experimental. Maybe from this instance, I'm not hanging on to things as tight. While I am being a steward and maintaining things, I'm not taking things as seriously. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, but I'm really just letting things evolve and seeing how they grow. But I did want to take you around while some things are flowering and blooming and fruiting and show you what's going on. So we're gonna start in the front yard, and everything's growing in really nicely, especially from this winter. And you can see behind me a lot of the living hedges come in and stuff, and let me show you a little closer. So we'll just start over here. We have a tangelo that I had dug up and potted all winter, and we've got some itty bitty fruit sets on there, but I just now put it into the ground because the foliage is kind of hurting. It hasn't really gotten over the shock of me taking it out, so I think getting it back in the ground was a good idea. Got okra kind of here, there, and everywhere. Got blackberries tucked in tightly with some beautyberry that's flowering nicely, attracting pollinators. The chase tree, or otherwise labeled Texas lilac, is in full bloom. This is in the front of my yard, and it's really bringing in a lot of beneficial pollinators. Got some Turk's cap here. It's a pink variety. Elderberry is also in bloom, like much of the other stuff. Insects are loving that. Cilantro bolting. Some strawberries in this bed, as well as some tomatoes. Kale behind there is getting eaten alive. Most of my brassicas aren't loving this heat. And I have some tomatoes doing pretty well. Probably about a week and a half until they're ripened. I don't know if I showed you guys my living arbor, but that's essentially a mulberry tree since they're springing up everywhere, and I'm kind of training it, and I've got grapevine trellis through it. We've got some grapes that are just about ready. Had to bag them up because we have a lot of birds hanging out. But yeah, I'm stoked on this arbor. We have some more Turk's cap, a red variety that just popped up. Some roses in there. This is a pomegranate that the freeze got really badly, but it's springing back. Some basil. I replaced a mulberry here with a loquat. This is a loquat my daughter and I grew from seed on a previous video. It's doing really well. I like that it is evergreen. It gives us some privacy throughout the winter as well. Some Okinawan spinach that came up from last year. This is more ornamental. It hasn't really done anything but flowered, but a quince there. This is a nice part of the hedge. It hasn't fruited yet, but we have a Pakistan mulberry. And along the hedge here, I threw a lot of wild flowers in here to attract more bees and stuff, since my hive was gone, but I do have a redemption story on that. Some moringa coming back from the freeze. Ornamental Barbados. It's kind of a dwarf Barbados. The fruit's tasty, but it's not that big. More moringa. Bush cherry, growing really well, no action yet. Some cosmos just popped up in there. cassava back from the roots, some goji berry. I do have to weed around here a little bit. Some problematic guys in here. But yeah, we got some goji berry. Looks like it got a little too much water. It's been raining like crazy. Probably not the best spot for this, but that's a hazelnut starting to spring back from dormancy. And this pretty much froze to the ground, but this is sherbet berry. Again, the brassicas are getting decimated. Have some carrots popping up. Probably let them go to seed so they'll plant some more for me. Yeah, I need to harvest some of this taro. Doing a little too well, shading out some of the strawberries, maybe in a bad way. Pomegranate that sprang up from seed, opportunistically. Little sunflower here, false advertisement. Wasn't quite mammoth, if you can see the size comparison. Some milkweed that likes to come back every year. Gets the monarchs coming. I've had a few asparagus harvests, but I'm letting them fern out a little bit to let those roots get more established. And some katuk, springing back from last year. This is my like 9-in-1 stone fruit. And it flowered like crazy, and I was sure I was gonna get some fruit. I haven't hand pollinated. It could be, what I'm starting to think, you guys put your input down in the comments. I'm thinking all the rainwater, it might be getting too much rain at times. And I'm thinking it may be, yeah, it got semi-saturated and just dropped everything. But you guys let me know what you think. I do want to start another stone fruit tree like this in another location to see how it does, because I haven't gotten a whole lot of fruit off this. I think I got like a nectarine last year, but yeah. It's more taro, it's strawberries, hibiscus here, my little nursery here. I've got all sorts of stuff in the greenhouse, but I have some tobacco growing. It gets eaten alive down here in Texas in the heat. So I've got it in these little greenhouses that they've quite frankly outgrown. But yeah, I'll figure out something for them. I'll probably keep them in pots because they get so decimated. And I was thinking of bringing some of these starters I have. The Swiss chard's fine, but some of these brassicas getting eaten alive. I might bring them inside and do a grow light thing just to have more greens throughout the summer. This is jujube going absolutely bonkers, flowering like crazy. This thing puts off a ton of fruit, although it is just rootstock. I took a sucker, put it over here. The fruit's not huge, but it's delicious and plentiful. Still have my grapevine trellising the carport, and it took some damage too from the freeze actually. More so on the further end over there, but I do have some nice harvests netted, almost ready. All right, now on to the backyard. Got some privacy bamboo here that I need to cut back a little bit. Here's kind of zooming out of my hedge here on this side of the fence. But yeah, I have some tomatoes in there, some firebush. This looks like, I know I have dewberries kind of on the ground here. That's what I mean about letting things do what they want to do. This one I'm stoked on. First pawpaw fruit. First and only pawpaw fruit. That's something I mentioned in previous videos. Oh, and I just spotted an eggplant here. But yeah, I have 2 mulberries here that are primarily kind of nurse trees for pawpaw. Actually, I have 3, but I do plan on consolidating and grafting them somewhere else as I'm getting smoked out here. Here's another pawpaw that actually put off a shoot here. Probably need to either up pot or get these pineapples in the ground. I've got one further back there too. Have a little island here in the middle. Broccoli's not doing great. Like I said, the brassicas. We've got some arugula bolting. Swiss chard's doing all right. I've planted a lot of comfrey around here for chop and drop. Got a white sapote here. Just barely starting to do things after I've put it in the ground. Early spring. Assorted peppers from seed. I believe that's jalapeno. All right, so one of the things I meant about things going wild is these sunflowers that planted themselves. Kind of a wild variety, pretty much invasive, but I've been using them to trellis tomatoes. And I have the same thing going on over here. And I've also just got these out of the pots. I dug them out in the winter, but I have some Meyer lemon back there and some limes. As for the goat/chicken pen, I let it get crazy with sunflowers. I just kind of chopped them back a little bit. Got some compost going on in there and stuff. We'll figure out the rest later. Pisang Kalang back from the ground, looking good. Some more sunflowers. I believe these are black oil, but they came from the bird feed. Pomegranate, some yucca, some agave. I probably need to repot this Peruvian apple. But yeah, I did a little experiment keeping the Peruvian out in the freeze. I don't see it coming back, but I did clone it. But I do need to repot that, probably clone it one more time. Shampoo ginger, turmeric starting to pop up. This is what I mean about the tobacco. I put it in the ground, it's getting chewed up like crazy. Never does good with me. Some moringa, comfrey, blueberry with a little bit of fruit set on there. Orinoco bananas, intertwined with some mulberry. Really nice fruit set on the figs. I've harvested a few, but for the most part, they're not quite ready. I have a bunch of yard-long beans. Trellised in here with some cucumbers. I've already had some nice harvests. Still have some babies hanging out. Need a little more time to fill out. Ruby Red Supreme Guava. I don't know if you can see in all that mulch, but it's starting to pop back up. Another mulberry I'm probably gonna take down because they're just getting way too carried away. This mulberry I just pruned it up. Pretty shoddy job of pruning, but basically I want to create a canopy over the chicken pen. Some more elderberry, some curry leaf came back from the freeze, so you guys know it's tolerant down to 20 degrees. Some bee balm came back from the dead. Seminole pumpkins I planted in here. This is, I believe, Suriname cherry. Some passion fruit slowly vining up. I love in the summer when this stuff flowers and it fills up the chain link fence. It's like a 7 or 9 in 1 apple. No flowers yet. We'll see if I get fruit this year. More Seminole pumpkins. I've got some little papaya coming up from seed, some seedlings. If I have to, I'll thin them out. Some different nut trees too, and also some more beautyberry that I did not plant. This is a papaya that I transplanted from the greenhouse. It's starting to shoot up. Carambola is starting to spring up from the dead. Fuyu persimmon. Dropped a lot of the little fruits, but it just thinned itself out basically. But it's hanging on to some nice fruit set. I'm gonna have to net some of that up for the birds too. Quick look at the pond here. I need to thin this out too. I transplanted some cattails and they're just getting out of hand, but I don't run the waterfall. It's very much oxygenated from all the plants in here. My son, while we were at the local park, he saw some water lettuce. He knows it's invasive. He was like, yeah, let's toss it in there. Pretty much everything in here is invasive, parrot leaf and such. Sugar cane, nice clump right there. Behind that is Namwa bananas. Probably need to thin those out too. 2-in-1 pear tree. I grafted, I think, Asian pear on there. It hasn't done a whole lot for me. It's probably not getting enough sun. Dwarfed a little by the jujube here, which after it puts off some fruit, probably gonna top it and cut it way back so everything else gets light. I think I mulched with, yeah, I definitely mulched with sugarcane one year, and it just kind of grew, and I just kind of go with it, basically using it to shade anything that I put in here. I do have a jaboticaba that I dug out of the ground, and it's still been in the pot, trying to save it through the winter. Really sad, discounted loquat back here. We'll see if it fruits and gives me a decent variety. Ice cream bananas back here. Peach tree. Tropic snow peach did not make it. It'll probably spring up a new rootstock from the ground. I don't know if you guys have seen a previous video, but I grafted onto that rootstock, and what keeps happening is the actual rootstock dies, whether, you know, that'll just kill it no matter what. So it always seems like the rootstock dies first, so I'm replacing that probably with another stone fruit. I think this is a Celeste fig perhaps, but it got really damaged and it kind of bounced back. It's already fruiting. I need to make proper housing for them, but this is a newer addition. They're just still in a pet taxi right now. We got some quail, totally. And the bees have gone to sleep, but I did catch a swarm, so there's my redemption. The bees are back. All right, guys, well, that was a relatively quick run through. I really just wanted to kind of capture everything while it was springing back. I have so much going on here that I really didn't want to waste your time too much, so it was a pretty quick run through. All right, guys, well, that's gonna do it for today's video. As always, thanks for tuning in. Until next time.